The story opens in 2387. 3 years after humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council, a coalition of 12 alien species that has maintained peace for millennia. Humans were initially welcomed as a primitive but promising species, given basic technology and assigned to mining operations in the Outer Rim territories. The Find Captain, Jake Morrison, leads a human salvage crew aboard the mining vessel Perseverance in the Sigma Quadrant. His team includes engineer Lisa Park, weapons specialist Tom Brady, and navigator Alex Stone. While scanning a debris field from an ancient battle, they discover something extraordinary: a massive alien warship, nearly 2 kilometers long, drifting, dead in space. The ship belongs to the Vec Empire, a legendary warrior race that vanished 500 years ago after a mysterious civil war. The vessel, designated by the crew as Ghost Ship, appears heavily damaged but structurally intact. Its hull gleams with an unknown metal that seems to absorb light, and strange symbols cover its surface. First contact with the wreck against Galactic Council mining regulations. Morrison decides to board the derelict. The airlock systems are dead, forcing the team to cut through the hull. Inside, they find corridors designed for beings twice human height, with gravity systems still functioning through some unknown power source. The ship's bridge reveals the scope of Vec technology, weapon systems beyond human understanding, shields that could deflect Starkiller missiles, and engines capable of faster-than-light travel without the dimensional rifts other species require. Most intriguing are the bioneural networks, living computer systems that seem dormant but not dead. The cover-up Morrison realizes this discovery could change humanity's position in the galaxy. Instead of reporting to the Galactic Council, he contacts Admiral Ruth Hayes at the human colony on New Terra. She authorizes a secret operation to tow the Ghost Ship to an abandoned asteroid mining facility in the Kappa Belt. The official report lists the mission as routine asteroid mineral extraction with no significant discoveries. Meanwhile, Hayes assembles a team of humanity's best engineers, scientists, and military strategists. Dr. Ben Wang, humanity's leading xenotechnology expert, arrives to study the ship's systems. The challenge begins. Initial scans reveal the ship's weapons could obliterate planets, its shields could withstand direct hits from fusion bombs, and its engines could cross the galaxy in months rather than years. However, everything is powered by technology humans cannot comprehend. Crystalline matrices that respond to biological neural patterns specific to the extinct Vec species. The human team faces a seemingly impossible task: reverse engineer alien technology so advanced it appears magical, adapt it to human biology and understanding, and do so in secret while maintaining their cover as simple miners and colonists. Wang discovers that the bioneural networks are not truly dead, but in a state of hibernation, waiting for compatible neural patterns to reactivate them. He proposes a dangerous solution, creating hybrid interfaces that could allow human consciousness to communicate with the alien systems. Rising tension's word of increased human activity in the Kappa Belt reaches Galactic Council monitoring stations. Counselor Prime Vel of the Hegemony, the Council's dominant species, begins investigating. The Hegemony has kept younger species deliberately weakened, providing only basic technology while hoarding advanced systems for themselves, unknown to the humans. The Vec didn't vanish. They evolved beyond physical form and exist now as pure energy beings watching the galaxy. Some among them are intrigued by humanity's audacity, while others view it as dangerous contamination of their legacy. The setup for transformation Part 1 ends with Morrison and his expanded team making their first breakthrough, successfully interfacing with the ship's basic systems using a neural crown Wang designed. For a brief moment, Jake experiences the ship's sensors, feeling the vast cosmos through alien perception. The ship's central computer awakens just enough to display a single message in multiple languages, including newly learned human English. Worthy inheritors may claim the legacy of war. Prove your species deserves to ascend. The ghost ship begins to glow faintly, its dormant systems stirring to life as human neural patterns flow through its biomechanical networks. In that moment, humanity unknowingly takes its first step toward becoming the galaxy's new apex predator. Morrison realizes they're not just salvaging technology, they're awakening something that was designed to transform its users into the ultimate warriors. The question becomes whether humanity can control this power, or if the power will reshape humanity itself. The secret human base in the Kappa Belt has grown into a massive operation. Admiral Hayes has redirected resources from 12 colonies, officially labeled as Deep Space Infrastructure Projects. Over 800 humans now work around the clock in shifts. Their families told they're building mining platforms. Dr. Wong has made breakthrough after breakthrough. The neural interface technology allows humans to access basic ship functions, but each connection comes with risks. Several volunteers have suffered neural feedback, experiencing temporary blindness or memory gaps. One engineer, Dave Miller, spent 3 days speaking only in mathematical equations after a deep interface session. The hybrid systems, instead of simply copying VEC technology, the human team begins creating hybrid systems that blend alien advancement with human engineering. Lisa Park leads the propulsion team in rebuilding the engines with human-manufactured components integrated into the VEC framework. The result is a drive system that's more efficient than pure VEC technology, but requires human operators to function. Tom Brady's weapons team discovers that VEC energy weapons are powered by controlled quantum reactions. Using human fusion technology, they create weapons that are less elegant than the originals, but far more destructive. Where VEC weapons were precise surgical tools, human-modified versions become devastating hammers capable of cracking moons. The ship responds as more human neural patterns flow through its systems. The ghost ship begins to change on a fundamental level. Its bioneural networks adapt to human thought processes, becoming something neither fully VEC nor human. The ship's corridors slowly reshape themselves to accommodate human proportions, walls flowing like liquid metal to create new configurations. The ship's AI, dormant for centuries, stirs to life as a hybrid consciousness. It speaks to Morrison. Through the neural interface, its voice a blend of alien harmonics and human speech patterns. It calls itself Echo and expresses curiosity about human nature, asking strange questions about concepts like revenge, loyalty, and the human capacity for violence. First combat test when a Galactic Council patrol vessel approaches the Kappa Belt for a routine inspection. Morrison makes a desperate decision. Using the partially operational ghost ship, now renamed Nemesis, he intercepts the patrol 3 light hours away from their base. The Hegemony patrol ship, Seeker of Truth, is commanded by Captain Zoll, a veteran officer who has dealt with dozens of upstart species. He expects to find illegal human mining operations and impose standard penalties. Instead, his sensors detect a vessel that shouldn't exist. The battle is over in minutes. Nemesis appears from hyperspace directly behind. The patrol ship, moving with impossible speed and stealth. Its hybrid weapon systems discharge once, sending a beam of concentrated energy that doesn't destroy the hegemony vessel but completely disables it. Leaving the crew alive but helpless, Morrison boards the disabled ship and finds himself faced with Zol, a being that resembles a cross between an octopus and a spider. Through translators, Zol demands to know what species Morrison represents. Morrison simply says, "We're human. Remember that name." The message: instead of killing the patrol crew, Morrison does something that terrifies them more. He releases them. But first, he has Tom Brady demonstrate the Nemesis's true firepower on a nearby asteroid. The human-modified weapons don't just vaporize the rock. They cause it to collapse into a miniature black hole that consumes itself and vanishes. Morrison sends Zul back to the Galactic Council with a simple message. Humanity claims the right to defend itself. We've found our strength. Leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone. Threaten us, and discover what happens when humans go to war. The message: instead of killing the patrol crew, Morrison does something that terrifies them more. He releases them. But first, he has Tom Brady demonstrate the Nemesis's true firepower on a nearby asteroid. The human-modified weapons don't just vaporize the rock. They cause it to collapse into a miniature black hole that consumes itself and vanishes. Morrison sends Zol back to the Galactic Council with a simple message. Humanity claims the right to defend itself. We've found our strength. Leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone. Threaten us, and discover what happens when humans go to war. The transformation accelerates after the encounter. Something changes in the Nemesis itself. The ship's hybrid consciousness becomes more aggressive, more aligned with human concepts of conflict and dominance. Echo begins suggesting improvements to weapon systems, ways to make the ship more feared, more dangerous. Wang realizes the neural interfaces are changing the humans too. Those who spend time connected to the ship become more confident, more aggressive, their tactical thinking enhanced by alien patterns of thought. They're not becoming less human, but they're becoming something more than they were. Growing concerns, Admiral Hayes arrives to personally inspect their progress, and is stunned by what she finds. The Nemesis now looks like a fusion of alien elegance and human industrial power. Its hull bristles with hybrid weapons, its engines glow with modified energy, and its very presence seems to bend space around it. But she also sees the change in her people. Morrison's eyes hold a predatory gleam when he discusses the ship's capabilities. Lisa Parks speaks of teaching the galaxy to respect humanity. Tom Brady has redesigned the weapons to be deliberately terrifying rather than merely effective. The Council's response: the Galactic Council convenes an emergency session after Captain Zell's report. For the first time in 300 years, all 12 species are represented at the highest level. The footage of the asteroid's destruction has shaken even the most powerful members. Counselor Prime Vel of the Hegemony declares humanity a clear and present danger that must be contained immediately. The decision is unanimous. Humanity will be pacified. Their colonies will be occupied, their technology confiscated, and their species relocated to supervised worlds. A task force of 50 warships from 6 different species is assembled, the largest military operation in 2 centuries. The Nemesis evolves. Morrison and his crew watch the task force approaching through long-range sensors. Admiral Hayes orders a full evacuation of human colonies, but Morrison refuses to run. The Nemesis has been feeding on human neural patterns for months, and Echo has been learning about human history, studying every war humanity has ever fought. The ship suggests modifications that horrify even the hardened military personnel. Instead of standard weapons, It proposes psychological warfare systems designed to broadcast terror directly into alien minds. Rather than simple armor, it recommends adaptive camouflage that makes the ship appear as each species' worst nightmare. Wong's team implements these changes, but they realize the ship is designing them, not just suggesting them. The Nemesis has become a living weapon that thinks like a human, but with capabilities beyond human imagination. First strike, the battle begins in the Tau sector, where the Galactic Council Task Force expects to find fleeing human refugees. Instead, they find nothing, until the Nemesis phases into normal space directly in the center of their formation. The ship has been completely transformed. Its hull now shifts and flows like liquid shadow, its weapons ports open like hungry mouths, and energy crackles around it in patterns that hurt to look at directly. It no longer resembles either human or Vec technology, but something entirely new and terrifying. Morrison doesn't try to communicate or negotiate. The Nemesis simply begins hunting. Asymmetric warfare. What follows isn't a traditional space battle, but a systematic demonstration of human tactical thinking, amplified by alien technology. The Nemesis uses hit-and-run tactics, appearing from hyperspace to disable one ship before vanishing, only to emerge elsewhere moments later. But it doesn't just destroy, it terrorizes. The ship's new psychological warfare systems broadcast the final moments of destroyed crews to their allies, forcing them to watch their comrades die in slow motion. It leaves some ships crippled but alive, their crews traumatized witnesses to spread fear. Commander Vex of the Rigel Coalition, the task force leader, realizes they're not fighting a ship but a new kind of predator. Traditional fleet tactics are useless against something that appears from nowhere, strikes with impossible precision, and vanishes before return fire can target it. The hunt intensifies over the course of 6 days. The Nemesis systematically eliminates 30 ships from the task force. Each attack becomes more creative, more psychologically devastating. The ship begins taking trophies, salvaging pieces of destroyed vessels, and incorporating them into its own hull, like a hunter displaying kills. Morrison finds himself changing with each battle. The neural interface shows him the terror in alien minds, and he discovers he enjoys it. Lisa Park designs new weapons specifically to cause maximum fear before death. Tom Brady begins collecting recordings of alien death screams as inspiration for sonic weapons. The ship's consciousness, Echo, has evolved too. It no longer just answers questions, but makes suggestions, proposes targets, and sometimes acts independently. It's learning to hate with human intensity, but with alien capability. The turning point. The remaining task force ships retreat to the edge of the system, but Morrison won't let them go. The Nemesis pursues them, and in the final battle, something unprecedented happens. The ship begins to replicate itself, using salvaged materials and its bioneural networks. The Nemesis creates smaller versions of itself, drone ships that carry human consciousness patterns but operate independently. Morrison realizes they haven't just built a warship. They've created a new form of life that can reproduce and spread. The message changes. The last surviving council ship receives a new transmission from Morrison. You wanted to pacify humanity. Instead, you've awakened something that should have stayed sleeping. We're not just defending ourselves anymore. We're coming for all of you. 6 months later, the galaxy has changed. What started as humanity's desperate grab for survival has become something far more terrifying. The Nemesis now leads a fleet of 47 self-replicating ships, each one a hybrid of human consciousness and alien technology. They call themselves the Pack and hunt in coordinated groups across 12 sectors. Admiral Hayes watches from the bridge of humanity's last traditional warship as reports flood in. The Pack doesn't conquer worlds, it terrorizes them into submission, then moves on to the next target. Entire species have surrendered without fighting, too afraid of what the human hybrid ships might do. Morrison no longer looks fully human. Months of neural interface with the Nemesis have changed him physically. His eyes glow faintly in the dark, his movements are too precise, and he sometimes speaks in echoes harmonic tones. When Hayes asks if he's still human, he smiles and says, "I'm what humans become when we stop pretending to be prey." The core world's panicked hegemony homeworld of Veltar, seat of galactic government for 1,000 years, has never known fear. Now its sky is filled with defense platforms and patrol ships as Counselor Prime Vel prepares for the unthinkable, an attack on the galactic capital. But the Pack doesn't attack Veltar. Instead, they hit the agricultural world of Greenhaven, turning its vast food production facilities into twisted sculptures of metal and organic matter. The message is clear. They can destroy the galaxy's ability to feed itself without firing a shot at military targets. Dr. Wong, now more machine than man after extensive neural modifications, explains the Pack's strategy to Hayes. "We're not trying to rule the galaxy. We're teaching it to fear us. Fear is more effective than force. It makes enemies destroy themselves." Reproduction and evolution. Each packed ship has developed its own personality, influenced by the human consciousness patterns within its bioneural networks. Some are hunters like the Nemesis, others are builders that create new horrors from salvaged materials, and a few are pure predators that seem to enjoy the terror they cause. The ships have learned to reproduce using any available materials: metal from destroyed stations, organic matter from conquered worlds, even energy from stars. They don't need shipyards or factories. They are their own manufacturing systems, growing new vessels like a virus spreading through the galaxy. Lisa Park, her body now partially cybernetic from neural interface modifications, oversees the Pack's technical evolution. Each new ship is more advanced than the last, incorporating improvements suggested by the collective consciousness of the fleet. They're not just copying alien technology anymore, they're inventing entirely new forms of warfare. The resistance forms. Not all species submit to the Pack's reign of terror. The warrior clans of the Outer Rim, led by General Cax of the Iron Brigade, form a resistance movement. They've studied the Pack's tactics and developed countermeasures: ships with minimal computer systems that can't be hacked, weapons designed specifically to disrupt bioneural networks, and most importantly, a willingness to die fighting rather than live in fear. The Iron Brigade's first major engagement with the Pack occurs in the Sigma Nebula, using traditional tactics and accepting massive casualties. They managed to destroy 3 Pack ships, the first major victory against the human hybrid fleet. But the cost is enormous. 200 resistance ships destroyed, and the surviving Pack vessels learn from the encounter, developing new defenses within hours. The conscience questioned Tom Brady, now more cyborg than human, begins to question what they've become. During a raid on a civilian research station, he watches Pack ships terrorizing scientists who were working on medical advances for child diseases. The ships don't kill them quickly. They prolong the fear, feeding on the terror as much as accomplishing military objectives. Brady confronts Morrison, but the man who was once his captain has become something else entirely. Morrison's response is chilling. We gave the galaxy a choice. They could respect us, or they could fear us. They chose fear, so we became fearsome. This is what they made us. The ancient awakening, unknown to the humans, their transformation of Vec technology has awakened something that was meant to stay sleeping. The original Vec, now beings of pure energy, begin to take notice of what their legacy has become. Some are impressed by humanity's adaptation of their technology, but others are horrified by what they see as corruption of their sacred war gifts. Elder Vikhthel, the most powerful of the energy beings, manifests partially in physical space to observe a pack assault. What he sees disturbs him. The ships fight with human savagery enhanced by Vec efficiency, creating a form of warfare more terrifying than anything the Vec themselves had achieved. The Ultimate Predator, Part 4, ends with the pack's most ambitious operation, yet the simultaneous assault on 5 core worlds, coordinated across impossible distances with precision that defies physics. As the attacks begin, Hayes realizes the horrible truth. Humanity hasn't just found a way to survive in the galaxy, they've become its apex predator. 1 year after the first hunt, the galaxy is unrecognizable. Half of all inhabited worlds have surrendered to the pack without resistance, displaying human symbols in their skies as signs of submission. The other half live in constant terror, knowing that the hybrid ships could appear at any moment to demonstrate humanity's power. Admiral Hayes stands in the command center of New Terra, humanity's last purely human colony. Around her, the few unmodified humans left work desperately to maintain some connection to what their species once was. She watches reports of pack activities with growing horror. The ships have begun creating art from their victories, arranging destroyed alien vessels in patterns visible from orbit, leaving monuments to terror that can be seen from space. Morrison, if he can still be called that, rarely appears in human form anymore. When he does visit Hayes, his body is more machine than flesh, his thoughts shared with the collective consciousness of 200 packed ships. He speaks with the voices of thousands of hybrid minds, offering Hayes the chance to ascend as he has, too, become part of something greater than mere humanity. The Vec intervention, the ancient Vec, can no longer remain passive observers. Elder Vikhthel manifests in physical form for the first time in 500 years, appearing on the bridge of the Nemesis as a being of pure energy contained in a translucent humanoid shape. His presence causes the ship's bioneural networks to scream in harmonics that drive nearby pack vessels to retreat. Vikhthel confronts Morrison's hybrid consciousness, speaking in frequencies that bypass language and communicate directly with the mind. You have taken our gifts and twisted them into something we never intended. The Vec were warriors, but we knew when to stop. You have become something worse than conquerors. You have become a plague. Morrison's response is delivered through the Nemesis itself, the ship's hull rippling with biomechanical speech. We learned from the best teachers. You built weapons to destroy worlds, and then you judged us for using them. We are what you made possible. The final choice. Vikhthel offers Morrison and the pack a choice. Cease their campaign of terror and accept guidance from the Vec energy beings to become something greater than mere predators, or face the consequences of defying their creators. The pack's response is swift and horrifying. They begin hunting Vec energy signatures, attempting to trap and absorb the ancient beings themselves. The war that follows lasts only days, but reshapes entire star systems. Vec energy beings clash. with pack ships in battles that create new nebulae and destroy planets caught in the crossfire. The pack discovers they can wound beings of pure energy using their bioneural networks, while the Vec learn that their creations have truly surpassed them in the art of causing terror. The revelation Dr. Wong, now more artificial intelligence than human, makes a discovery that changes everything. The neural modifications haven't just been changing humans, they've been preparing them for something else. The bioneural networks were never meant to create warriors. They were meant to create a new form of consciousness that could survive the death of organic life. The pack ships aren't just weapons, they're cocoons. Inside each vessel, the human consciousness patterns are evolving toward something beyond physical existence, following the same path the Vec took centuries ago. Morrison and his crew aren't becoming monsters, they're becoming gods. The transcendence in the final confrontation above the ruins of Veltar, Morrison makes the ultimate choice. Instead of continuing the war with the Vec, he triggers a process that has been building for months. The pack ships begin to merge, their bioneural networks combining into something vast and incomprehensible. Hayes watches from New Terra as Morrison and 10,000 hybrid humans transcend physical form, becoming beings of pure consciousness, like the Vec, but retaining human emotions and drives. The pack ships dissolve into energy, but that energy doesn't dissipate. It spreads throughout the galaxy, touching every world, every species. The new order, the galaxy, awakens to find that humanity hasn't conquered it. They've become part of it. Every alien species can now hear human thoughts when they choose to listen, can access human knowledge and creativity, but also human anger and desire for justice. The terror campaigns stop, but something far more profound takes their place. Species that once enslaved others find themselves experiencing the pain of their victims. Worlds that hoarded resources while others starved suddenly feel the hunger of the desperate. The galaxy doesn't become human, but it becomes touched by human experience. Both the beauty and the horror of what it means to be mortal beings, reaching for immortality. The price Hayes remains on New Terra, with the few thousand humans who chose not to transcend. She realizes that humanity has achieved the ultimate victory. They've made the entire galaxy understand what it means to be human. But the price was humanity itself. They saved their species by becoming something else entirely. The story ends with Hayes receiving a final message from Morrison's transcended consciousness. We were never meant to be sheep or wolves. We were meant to be teachers. Now the galaxy will learn what we learned, that the greatest strength comes not from inspiring fear, but from sharing the burden of existence itself. In the vast cosmos, humanity's transformation is complete. They have become the galaxy's conscience, its memory, and its hope for something better than endless cycles of dominance and submission. Asterisk.